Hello, today I'm going to focus on the Okinawa evacuation plans. On March 27th of this year, Japan unveiled a plan to evacuate the residents of Sakishima Islands, Okinawa's remote islands, in case of an emergency. Even though the government has not officially specified the emergency, the island's proximity to Taiwan point to growing tensions in that region. 110,000 residents and 10,000 tourists and others will be moved. The plan aims to relocate these 120,000 inhabitants within a span of 6 days, ferrying 20,000 people a day by ship and plane, both government and private, to Yamaguchi prefectures and the 7 prefectures of Kyushu Island. Guidelines are still underway and training is slated to begin next year. So why has the Okinawa prefecture only recently established a large-scale evacuation plan, despite years of military tension and bilateral training operations in the region? While many news outlets focus on escalated tensions around Taiwan as the main catalyst, do these plans also reflect a shift in the US-Japan military relations or Japan's plans of engagement if conflict breaks out? This evacuation plan was domestically developed and not a result of joint operations. Existing US-led evacuations are designed only to evacuate military and military-adjacent personnel from Okinawa bases. Moreover, the numerous bilateral training operations focus mainly on testing and developing a multitude of combat operations. Historically, US-involved conflicts like the Gulf War have pressured Japan to further develop its military and expand its military engagement abroad, which it has strategically done while restricted by its Constitution's Article 9, which states, quote-unquote, renounce war as sovereign right of the nation and the threat or use of force as means of settling international disputes. I'll move forward in the presentation chronologically, starting with the 2018 Chinese military exercises around Taiwan and moving to 2025 implementation of the ambitious Okinawa evacuation plan. This will focus on the growing cross-strait tensions as well as Japan's military development as I try to follow how and why the evacuation was developed at this time. In 2018, China conducted naval and air force live-fire drills simulating amphibious landings and blockades following the signing of the U.S.-Taiwan Travel Act, which allowed for officials to travel between the two countries. It was seen by China as an upgrade to Taiwan-U.S. relations that threatened the One China policy. China would continue to conduct cross-strait training operations in response to U.S. military and political activity, such as the U.S.-Taiwan relations during heightened Trump administration, Nancy Pelosi's Taiwan visit in 2022, Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen's meeting with U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy in 2023, and more. This has also expanded its operations in the Taiwan Strait region and beyond, specifically bilateral and multilateral operations with Japan that have grown in scale, complexity, and strategic focus for the last few decades. For example, Operation Keen Sword 25 was the largest U.S.-Japan field training exercise to date. In 2021, Prime Minister Abe said that a Taiwan emergency is a Japanese emergency, and that year's defense strategy acknowledged China's growing military strength amidst competition with the U.S., the tilt in the military gap between China and Taiwan, and the importance of maintaining stability across the Taiwan Strait for Japan's security. Notably, Japan connecting stability and sovereignty in Taiwan to the security of Japan may give the Japanese self-defense forces an avenue to engage in a potential Taiwan-China conflict. With Japan's southernmost island's proximity to Taiwan, SDF would be deployed to defend its own islands, but would it extend its military reach further? This brings us to Japan's 2022 defense strategy, which reinforced Japan's defense capabilities and first addresses the Okinawan evacuation plan indirectly by stating that through government and local cooperation, Japan would achieve quote-unquote prompt evacuations of residents, including those in the southwest region, well in advance of an armed attack. While the December 2022 defense strategy was a top-down effort, the bottom-up efforts were underway earlier that year as mayors of Ishigaki, Taketomi, and Tonaguni islands close to Taiwan traveled to Naha, Okinawa to voice safety concerns for their residents in case of a Taiwan conflict. but Okinawa Prefecture's government doesn't always see eye to eye with these mayors. The mayors agreed with Tokyo on national security approaches and call for increased military presence locally. Okinawa has been reluctant, on the other hand, to open up locally ran airports and seaports to the SDF for training. Okinawa's Governor Denny Tamakis is a strong advocate for reducing the large U.S. military presence in Okinawa, citing that the large concentration of U.S. bases impedes local development and the quality of life for his residents. He's also critical of Japan's expanding military activities and argues against an arms race that may put Okinawa in the middle of the crosshairs. Nonetheless, projects to improve island security have continued with increasing support. Parallel to off-island evacuation developments, underground evacuation shelters on Okinawa have also been focus of concern, with funding growing from 70 mil in fiscal year 2023 to 240 million in fiscal year 2025. As for the off-island evacuations, in 2023 and 2024, Japanese government officials began running small-scale tabletop exercises to help develop the structural and logistic aspects of the current evacuation plan, and some guidelines are still currently in development. In conclusion, the evacuation plans are a product of growing security concerns in the waters near Taiwan between China and the U.S., but also reflect Japan's goals to expand its self-defense forces and maintain a free and open Indo-Pacific. This more assertive approach is called for more heightened emergency planning. As for the U.S.-Japan relationship, there doesn't seem to be, at least militarily, any strain or drift. The national defense strategies emphasize strong military partnership with the U.S. and joint development. On the other hand, the Japanese defense strategies lean towards a more adversarial relationship with China's military in the region. Thank you very much for your time. Please ask me to clarify or retackle anything discussed if needed. Critiques, suggestions, questions, and concerns are all welcome and encouraged.